Welcome back, everybody. This is Eric and Matt, and this is Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit, your beacon of freedom and the American way of life. Tune in every Mondays for a new episode as we dive into the world of liberty and what makes our country great. All right, folks, welcome back to today's show. This is LLP with Matt and Eric. We've got a great show for you this week, and I apologize for our absence last week. Somebody had to go on a freaking cruise and get sick.
Yes, man, that was diabolical what happened there at the end, man. It was like everything was going perfect until day number 7 on an 8-day cruise.
Creeping death, huh?
Yeah, man. Yeah,
we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, though, things going well?
Yeah, man. Everything's been great. You know, obviously, we apologize, guys. We were out. We had a little bit of leave of absence there, but we're back.
Hopefully.
Yes.
Well, today's show is going to revolve primarily around the Jeffrey Epstein list debacle. And I know it seems like this subject matter is getting, really tossed around by a lot of people. And people say, well, why are you going to beat a dead horse? Everyone is trying to run cover for the Trump administration, trying to run cover for whatever they're told to run cover for, apparently.
Yeah.
And people were so hot and heavy to have this Epstein list released, okay, and to bring all of these perpetrators to justice and to get justice for the children. It was just such a trope that seemed to be such a popular idea. And I hate to say the right, but let's just say those that were hardcore supporters of Trump and continue to be hardcore supporters of Trump, they really wanted that Epstein list to get out there. And, and that was a huge part of Trump's campaign when he was running was, hey, we're going to release the list. We're going to go after the Epstein types. And I mean, of course, we're going to dive into some sort of deeper nuanced bin and deeper minutia to this whole equation. However, there's a lot of people on Trump's camp that, are not overly happy with the way that this whole situation has been handled. They seem to have shifted gears, and then they shift back, then they shift gears, and they apply, public pressure. It gets applied to them, and then they respond to pressure. And if anything, I think what maybe this debacle really sort of teaches us, Matt, is that, politicians respond to pressure. Yes, they respond to public scrutiny. They respond to public pressure, and sometimes pressure makes diamonds. And I'm not going to say that that's always necessarily been, what ends up happening is we apply the pressure and things go the way we want. Sometimes it doesn't always go that way, but it would seem that, perhaps in this situation, the administration has responded to a lot of pressure from their very own base. And what are your thoughts on that?
I think this would be kind of the double-edged sword on term limits. So you'll see, I'm in favor of term limits, but this particular situation can be shown that, sometimes not having term limits or catching somebody when they're not a lame duck, when they still have one more term left or whatever it may be, can work out in your favor because their constituents are applying so much pressure to them. And like you said, that pressure creates diamonds. They are in office. They want to continue to be in office. So that pressure that's being applied is working in the public's favor versus, let's just say they're a lame duck or they're on the last term of their term limits. There's absolutely no reason for them to switch gears or to cave to any type of pressure from the constituents because they won't be their constituents next term. So they could, theoretically toe the party line and just lock step. In this particular case, I think that we saw the opposite. We saw that, hey, there's still elections to be won and they need to almost cave to the political pressure from the constituents in order to win the next election.
Matt, it seems that what the scenario that's playing out, it would seem to me is that, people are much more or better informed now. And without all of this censorship going on, I mean, right now, not to necessarily pump X, but look, I love Twitter /X. I'm very active on X. And right now, I believe I saw some stats the other day that's saying like what is it, some 70 some odd % of people now get all of their news from X. Now,
I believe it.
Some have accused X of continued censorship. However, overall, the platform has done a pretty good job of being relatively transparent. They just released Grok 4.0.
Yep.
And 4.0 seems to be, running pretty well. And they've added some other, functionalities in there. And look, many have accused Grok of being biased or of applying, let's just say a bias towards a given opinion rather than just simply stating the facts. However, overall, it's been pretty consistent. But there's a danger in AI that I think that maybe enough people aren't really talking about or thinking about. And the last thing you want to do is deny the human soul its creativity, and to deny the human conscious its ability and duty to scrutinize and think critically. And the problem is, if there's just some magic 8-ball that you can just spin the wheel and always get the answer you want, you don't think anymore. You don't think critically. You don't really become your own personal, your own person. You lose what it means to be an individual and to be, to have your own identity. And, what AI essentially is, Matt, is a collective consciousness, right? AI knows what people want to know because they know what people ask. It knows the answers, Matt, because it has all the answers. It knows what people's opinions are. It knows what's popular, what's not, and quite frankly, everything in between. So AI, essentially, just like some crooked politician, AI can become a crooked politician in a way, because it can tell you what you want to hear. It can tell you what they want you to hear, and anything in between. And it can even decide, really, if it wants you to know the truth, quite frankly, at all, Matt. So it's a scary environment.
Well, that has already started to happen. So people are becoming so dependent on AI for answers that they're not following their due diligence to follow up to make sure that what they're being fed is correct. They're asking, but they're not verifying. Mm-hmm. So you'll see it all the time, even on X. I like X. I think that, what you said is true. Most of my news content comes from X. You'll see the little snippets, the little pop-ups, because it's so quick. You can get that on the ground news like almost immediately. You'll see it on X before you see it in any other format, whether it's through, traditional media, social media. X has almost become exclusively news and news content. But you'll see people all the time in the comments section, Grok, is this true? And Grok will pop up, hey, it is, but here's the caveats to it. There was a case where a lawyer was using AI to help him with his cases, and he was asking AI, hey, can you provide me with previous judgments so I can bring this to the judge and use it to win my case, because he has to have precedence. And AI was just making stuff up. It was like, hey, in this particular case in 1983, this was like so-and-so versus so-and-so. And this guy lost his law license, his bar license, everything, because he was using AI, and they gave him completely wrong, just made up completely fictitious stuff. So
wow.
And yeah, if you're
there's kids in college using AI to write papers.
Yes, but most importantly, there's people that are on X or social media using AI to verify sources, quote, but they're not actually going and seeing. The AI could very well just be throwing stuff out there. If it doesn't, think about talking to a human. If you're a smooth talker, there's an art to talking to somebody. If you don't know something, you still have to have that confidence to give them an answer. It might not be entirely true, or it might not, be 100% correct.
Or it could have a bias towards what you want them to believe, and not give someone the full story to make their own opinion.
I think of AI as a very smooth talker. He's good. You ask a question, it's going to give you the answer you want to hear. And it knows the bias. The algorithm's like, all right, this guy is so-and-so. He leans right or left. We're going to give him this.
Correct. So before we get too much further in the show, I do want to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, and that's Allegiance Gold. You ever notice how gold doesn't get much airtime until the system starts to shake? Well, here's what nobody's talking about. Starting July 1st, Basel III global banking rules classify gold as a Tier 1 asset, the same level as cash or U.S. Treasuries. This is huge. It means that central banks now treat gold as the highest quality form of capital. They're not doing this just for fun. They're preparing for something. If gold is good enough for the world's most powerful banks and governments, why shouldn't it be good enough to protect your retirement? This may be the best moment that we've all been waiting for. Gold could reach levels we've never seen in the past. Whether you got $5,000 or $5 million to safeguard, now is the time to act. I've seen plenty of gold companies advertise and come and go, but I chose to partner with Allegiance Gold because they actually care. They care about their pricing, about integrity, about doing the right thing by their clients. They make it simple to move part of your 401k, your IRA, or savings into real physical gold and silver. As a veteran, you may even qualify for up to $5,000 in free silver. Call 844-790-9191 or visit allegiancegold.com/veterans. It's smart, secure, and simple. Call 844-790-9191. Tell American Matt sent you.
Get on down there and get some gold.
Get some gold. I like gold.
Goldfinger. Love it.
I love it. So, getting back to the Epstein debacle, I know we kind of talked a little bit about AI, about Grok 4.0 specifically, because AI is a tool that can shape in the public opinion. And has AI played a pivotal role in changing what people think about the whole Epstein debacle? I think the answer is yes. But let's take a step back and sort of look from a broader view. Okay, what would be some reasons, right? Like, so if you look at the Epstein list and everything contained within it as just raw intelligence, okay, look at it from an intelligence operation, okay? If you're performing an intelligence operation, or let's say that you are engaging in a law enforcement investigation, you don't want the perpetrator to know what you know. You don't want anyone to know what you know. And maybe you want to put out false information about what you know because you want them to think that what you know, that you're not on the trail. So whereby, yes, it is frustrating to see things within, let's just say, the political sphere that seem to clash with things that you just know in your heart are true based on what many people have come out and released, leaks and things and all the information that's come out, and let's just say photographs and media and God forbid what they're saying is depicted in some of these content that they have in their possession incriminates a lot of people. But you have to also kind of think that maybe there is a double-edged sword to the whole situation. Maybe they're trying to be purposely misleading about what they really know so that they can nail the sons of bitches. All right. Or, and this is, I think, where a lot of people in Trump's base and people on the left, both sides of the political coin, where they're coming from is, well, dang, if you know who they are, why aren't you nailing them? So people's perception, people's opinions on the matter is that you know dang well who the hell they are. You probably have their phone numbers. They're probably down the hall from you in the Pentagon. I mean, some of these people are well known, allegedly, right? And I think where people tend to have this separation of, okay, well, this is a law enforcement investigation. This is an intelligence operation. Some people would say, oh, this is a blackmail campaign. Oh, I mean, so, wow, now you're talking. You hear rumblings of a Mossad blackmail campaign. Now that's when it gets into, let's say, conspiracy theory territory. However, given how these people have conducted themselves in the past, and given the type of, let's just say, the type of work they do, okay, that's what they're in the business of, right? Is intelligence, control, manipulation, and ultimately, having you tie your own damn noose. And so that, I think, when you consider all those factors in totality, of the way that the Epstein list debacle is being handled. You know, I think it's purposely set up, Matt, to where it can be anybody's ball game. It can be in the court of the righteous that are actually going to do the right thing with the play, or it could be in the hands of the manipulators and the people who are going to do everything they can to hide the truth from people, and they're going to make you deny what your own eyes see and what your own heart feels and what your own mind tells you to believe. And that's what I think is troublesome about the current state of this Epstein debacle, because first you had all of the pro-Trump people saying, all right, well, I'm voting for Trump because he says he's going to release the Epstein list. You know, we got Pam Bondi in, we got Kash Patel in, we Dan Bongino came on board as a deputy director of the FBI, which the first time we've ever had, to my knowledge, a deputy director of the FBI. Why? Why now? After all these years, why now? And why Dan? All right. Was Dan being groomed to be a fall guy for some information? Was there so much intelligence on the board that, you know, maybe Kash was overwhelmed and needed someone to kind of help him? Or maybe is it because, you know, they just wanted one more person to point the finger at and blame, to take the blame off Bondi, to take the blame off Patel, and ultimately take the blame off Trump, who his own constituents are rather mad at how this is all being handled, especially after Bondi released, let's just say, the first batch of the Epstein list to a select group of, you know, social media talking heads, which I know a few of them. They're not bad people, but you have to wonder what the play is when Bondi spends more time on Fox News than she does, you know, prosecuting crimes or going after people, arresting people. Like, it's like, what is the play here? You know, if Bondi were to resign, would she wind up with a position at Fox News next week? You know, and you begin to see a pattern of events that you can't really deny after a while, right? Like, okay, Jen Psaki or whatever, the lady that was the
press secretary,
press secretary under the Biden administration, the redheaded lady,
the first
Peppermint Patty,
the
little
first
Peppermint Patty lady, right? She left the White House, and what she get? She went and got a job in the media first thing. Boom. Now one would say, okay, a press secretary, you know, that's you're taking questions from the media, you're responding to the media. So yeah, that would give you a uniquely posed position to have contacts within the media, right? People that might want to bring you on some sort of consultant or to run a show or something. And I'm not saying that that's not the case. However, it just does seem that a lot of our politicians have incredibly too healthy of a relationship with the media, and they wield the media like a weapon, and they wield social media like a weapon, because they know the court of public opinion is not on their side, and they have to purposely manipulate the data and the facts in ways that get their base sort of back on their side, and to try to keep people always guessing.
Well, I mean, in the press secretary's defense, I'll say just in general, there's not very much very many job opportunities for that particular skill set, other than going into media. Because I know that the Trump press secretaries also ended up doing the same thing. Most notably, Kayleigh McEnany. She was like a little firecracker, man. Like, she was very good. She was on it. Probably one of the best, in my opinion, one of the best press secretaries that I ever saw handle very combative journalists, and she handled it very well. She didn't have to like flip through a book for every answer. It was like, hey, you have a question, I have an answer. Not only do I have an answer, I have a rebuttal, and then I have statistics on why my answer is correct and why you're fake news. It was just like, I think that was really the beginning of seeing the whole like fake news type of organizations get dismantled, because they're getting picked apart with asking the same questions, getting called out, and then the answer being given. But back to the Epstein debacle, there's only one answer, which is everybody was compromised, and everybody still is compromised. Whether it's, through heinous means when they all go to this island, but that is the only way that this whole thing gets swept under the rug. It's very similar to like what happened. Like you'll see the memes, the Diddy memes. Same thing, man. Like those types of crimes involving heinous acts, unspeakable heinous acts, sometimes involving children, anytime you have like a high level official compromised with that, like you have them. And Sean Combs, it's weird calling him Diddy. Sean Combs, he did the same thing Epstein did. He would have his white parties that are very famous, very well known in the Hamptons. He would have all white parties. Everybody would attend these parties. If you were well known, if you wanted to be well known, you were invited, you went to the party.
Yeah.
Unspeakable things happened at that party that people will not say. And like the people were leaving the party, they're like, I'm getting out of here before any of this stuff gets any crazier.
Yeah, things start to get crazy. The night goes on, and as the night goes on, things get darker.
Yep.
So just to say that, Matt, if somebody was at a Diddy party, does it automatically mean that there's some, terrible person? Well, maybe early on, all they were doing is kicking back some Cristal and eating hors d'oeuvres, and hanging out and having fun by the pool. And then, all of a sudden, some debauchery starts going on. And they go, all right, I'm out of here. And am I the kind of person, Matt, that believes that, okay, if Trump was on the Epstein list and there's pictures of him and Epstein together and, they're saying he's on the flight log, allegedly, right? We don't know. I'm just saying what I've been told and what I've heard. Mm-hmm. Is that to say that maybe Trump was in a similar situation, that, things might have started to get a little hairy and he went, whoa, I didn't sign up for this, out of here, right? How many people continuously went to the island over and over and over and over and over again? That's what you have to consider. Yeah. So if you went to Epstein Island and you saw some straight up debauchery and you said, okay, look, I don't know what kind of crazy shit you're into, but I'm out of here. I'm not, yeah. I won't rat on you because, whatever, but I don't want no part of this. Which that's probably just as bad. To have knowledge and not tell anyone is bad too. But what about the people who kept going, knowing what they were going back for?
Yeah.
All right. The first time you have the benefit of the doubt of not knowing what might happen on that island. Maybe you don't know what they're doing there. But then you find out and you continue to come back. Highly sus.
Yep.
Highly sus.
So let's look at what's been released. All right. So they released the video of the security, the CCTV footage of Epstein's cell, and it was professionally edited. All right. Why? Why would you do that? Why not just release the unedited video? Still no answers. No one's asking. So here's the weird thing, Eric. Nobody's asking why. It's for some reason it's like, hey, here's the stuff, and everybody just accepts it. Why? Why is this video edited? What other world is CCTV footage edited? Let's
say that the CCTV video file started and stopped in a certain spot, and maybe you had to go into an editing software and just splice them back together to create one continuous track for the court to see. One could understand that. But when you're talking a section that's missing, especially a pivotal, important section that is highly pertinent.
Yeah.
Like if there's hours of watching this sleep.
There's 3 minutes missing.
And there's 3 minutes of incredibly pertinent, important information to account for. And it's gone. That is highly suspect. Now, I don't remember the user who it was, but there was somebody on Twitter that got a hold of that file. And of course, you can look through the metadata of the file, and if I think there's a command that you have to put in on a computer, but it'll pull sort of a forensic snapshot of the file's history. All right, if it's ever been edited, what editing suite was used to edit it. You can find all that out by running certain protocol. You can look at sort of the forensic, history of the file.
Right.
And someone with access to the actual file that was given to the court, they're like, look, right here, it shows where it was saved multiple times. Obviously, someone didn't want to lose their work. I mean, think about it. It makes sense. How many times in an editing session are you going to Control S, Control S, Control S? Because you don't want to lose your progress. Let's face it, if you're running Windows, sometimes programs crash, and the last thing you want to do is lose your progress. And what do? Just, you move something around, Control S, Control S, Control S. Locks to saving, right? We all do it. Every editor does it. But you can't sit there and tell me that, it wasn't edited when there's forensic proof within that file. The actual file is given to the court that shows all the Control S's, where they saved it, where they changed the name, where the editing suite they dropped it into, what they cut. I mean, you can't get around that, and it's quite clear that the clip was edited for content. And the question is, was that content destroyed? We'll probably never know what the content was. At this point, the ball is in their court to say, well, it was a corrupt file, or the file never existed, or no, it's not edited. See, it's just a lapse and whatever. Oh, the DVR heated up and overheated and quit working. Or they're going to come up with whatever excuse they think they can sell you, except telling you the truth that, someone from our team edited that out because they don't want you to see it.
Yeah, they don't want you to see us, murder him.
Hell no. Right. So now if the guy did commit suicide, well, then by God, show us and prove it.
Yeah.
But no one believes that the guy killed himself. And I would even venture as far to say that I don't think the guy's dead at all. I think they did a body swap or something. Like, I think there's some greater protection or something that is in play that I think he's worth way more to them alive than dead. And that's why Ghislaine Maxwell is still with the living.
Well, she just had a meeting and she walked out with a little special box, and she had a box of goodies going back to prison, and now she's requesting a full pardon, a presidential pardon. And
right.
It's just crazy how that happened. But here's what I don't get. All right. For the longest time, Eric, it was the prerogative of the right to expose this list. And I think that they got a sneak peek at this list and realized that they don't want that list coming out. Now they voted against releasing it. But
at first they tried to say it wasn't real.
Yeah. But who held him accountable was Thomas Massie. So he called a vote. He said he wants a public vote, so it's on record for all of the reps and the senators that didn't want this exposed. It was actually a pretty smart move because they were trying to, and it's interesting they did that as well. They adjourned the Congress early so they wouldn't have to deal with it. But he called, and that's why they voted for it publicly. And you got to see how many Republicans, it was like 250 something Republicans voted. No way. Yeah, they voted nay on
but all the Democrats want to release the list.
Yeah, it flip-flopped. Before it was the opposite. This is like that is the wild thing, but I just hate to see what happened because they all like basically turned against Thomas Massie, and he's just trying to do the right thing. Like, he is like, to me, that is exactly what you want. You want accountability. I mean, the dude is just all about, hey, let's run a smart government, like smart spending. We're not trying to spend more than we have. We're going to not do crazy bad things to kids. And if you do, we're going to do bad things to you.
What are we missing?
Yeah, this is crazy, man.
What do we learn?
We're living in a crazy world.
What are we missing here? I mean, why is that such an outlandish idea with these people? Simple accountability. If you can't be accountable, you have no business being in government, because you are given the trust of the people. You are bestowed a very sacred trust that, you have to accept that if you do something wrong, you're going to face the consequences. And, to think that now Massie is the poster child for everything that the Republicans don't want, right? Oh, Massie's a, second-rate Republican, second-rate person. They throw so much mud at him. AIPAC spent $1 million on campaigns ads recently to try to boot him out. And I don't think the election's been held yet, but they did run some polls. And even with all this blasting these ads, and of course, Massie, being the genius that he is, posted those ads on his very own social media. It's like, look what they're saying about me.
Yeah.
And he's like just doing it in some satirical way. Like, yeah, okay, here, I'll promote the ad. He's putting the own ads out there that his enemies are trying to throw at him. AIPAC spent $1 million. And then they did a poll, and he's like 76% approval rate.
Yeah, of course, man.
I mean, like, you don't, you can't throw shade on somebody who's a real one.
Yep.
And I think that there are a lot of people, I believe, on both sides of the political aisle, both Democrat and Republican, and libertarians, of course, that love Thomas Massie. I think that it doesn't take a genius to see what the hell is going on with everything and the level of debauchery that is occurring with these people. And they're running cover for each other, and the media is running cover for them, right? You think for 1 second that if there's some government approved message that needs to reach the masses, that they don't have direct access to people that they can say, hey, we want this to run on the news tonight. Well, that's not news to us. Well, it's news because we're saying it's news.
Mm-hmm.
We're telling you it's news here. Or if they say, here's tomorrow's news. This is what's going to be news tomorrow. Yeah. I mean,
it's already been proven. I think, what was the name of that campaign? It was like Operation something. Well, if you look it up, I'll have to look it up. But they showed on the news, it was like 200 news channels, all with the same intro, with the same apology.
Control messaging.
Yes. Yeah. And like, this is not a conspiracy theory, guys. This has been proven. Like some guy put together like 200 clips. We'll put the video in the comments or something, and we'll put it in the thing so you guys see. But it just blew me away.
It's absolutely wild.
Yep.
Yeah, to see it in concert, all of those people delivering the same message, just like, holy crap.
Yep.
That's real, And I want to take a quick moment before we get too much further in the show. I would like to talk a little bit about my new merch brand. Okay. Based in Mad. All right. I just want to kind of give a little talk about it. You've probably been seeing in the show here. I've got the little magnet sticker back there, Based in Mad. I got the Based in Mad cap. I got the Based in Mad mug. What the hell is Based in Mad, Eric? What are you doing here? What's going on? Well, you guys know that if you're no stranger to what I do, that I've been very vocal about a lot of things, and some of those things have gotten me maybe in a degree of hot water. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I've gotten into some degree of hot water with many people over some of my opinions, which they may not be mainstream opinions yet. In fact, they probably go quite against the mainstream and what they believe, and I do believe that a lot of that is just due to ignorance and them not knowing and avoiding and not wanting to understand history and things. So I started Based in Mad as a brand for people who are not afraid to break loose of the mold of society and be their own person, right? Based as in you're based. We all know what it means to be based. And mad, because mad can represent anger. It can represent discontent. But mad can also represent, the sort of artistic, eccentric nature that people in my type of shoes tend to have. I'm a very eccentric person, and I wanted these designs to be eccentric and edgy, and I wanted some of them to be kind of simple and artistic, and I wanted to make a statement. So my clothes are for people who want to make a statement, people who are not afraid to, upset someone at dinner. Okay. Someone who's not afraid to go out in public and someone go, wow, that's close to being an unwearable shirt. Right. But, it's not my goal to make shock shirts that just, that you can't wear. But for some of you who are down, we've got you covered. So look, if you support my message and you support the work that I've done over the years, and you support my Second Amendment work, my First Amendment work, which, I have been censored and canceled by a lot of damn people. If you want to support my work, you can buy a mug. I've got hats. I've got shirts. Check out basedinmad.com. Real nice layout. Just a quick forewarning on orders. If you do want to place an order, I'm a couple of weeks out. I do have to produce this stuff as it's made. So bear with me. It is a couple of week lead time. And I know the prices are what they are, but look, on merch, it's just to be profitable, I got to charge what I got to charge to make any money off it, because it's not getting any cheaper, y'all. I mean, unfortunately, that's just the grip of capitalism. But if you want to support my efforts, That's one way you can do so. Get you a Based and Mad mug. So this one's got the Based and Mad, and then on the other side, we've got the same image that is on my shirt. That's King Baldwin. That's an artistic rendering of King Baldwin IV. And of course, you know that he essentially saved Christianity. Okay. He was a very well-known and respected king, and he didn't take any shit from anybody. Okay. So that's the essence of what I want to do with this brand is, you know, it's for people who are fed the hell up with what's going on. And I thought this video would be a perfect way, well, today's show would be a perfect way to kind of talk about Based and Mad. This is the first time y'all are going to see it. So I've got some other shirt designs I'll show you in some future content. But anyway, I just wanted to do a quick plug, shameless plug for some of the merch. And if you want to support what I do, I guess it's me just being my loudmouth self. If you like the things I say on Twitter, buy a damn mug and put some coffee in it, take a picture of it, and send it to me. I'll share it for you, okay? So we are going to talk about Epstein a little bit more, but we're going to lighten up the conversation a little bit. I've got some 50 caliber rounds here in front of Matt. And, you know, I thought it would be fun to test Matt and see if he can identify all the 50 caliber ammo in front of him here.
I can probably identify 2 of these. I was not a 50 gunner. You were a 50 gunner. I was a 240 gunner. I can identify 2 of these rounds. The other 3, well, 2/3, I have no idea. So I'm just going to jump in. I'm going to pick the first one I know. This one is an APIT, which is an armor-piercing incendiary tracer. Is that correct?
No.
All right. Oh,
but
okay.
you're close to one that is.
Okay. This one.
That's an APIT.
All right. I knew one of them. It was one of them. All right. APIT, armor-piercing incendiary tracer.
Yep.
Then that means that is a Ralphus?
Yes.
Okay.
That's
Ralphus
a Mark
round.
211 Ralphus.
All right. That's a
that
Ralphus.
has RDX in it. It's explosive.
Okay. I'll be close. I'll be careful. Is that a slap or...
That is a Hornady AMAX. That's
Okay.
a match round. So
Okay.
that's not a military cartridge.
I was like, I'm not
that
familiar.
That is a
I'm
750 grain AMAX. You notice the ogive of the bullet compared to the APIT.
Yeah, it's very, very...
It's much more aerodynamic. So that's a match bullet from Hornady, the AMAX.
Right. I'm not familiar with this one. At least a brown tip.
Tracer.
Just a straight tracer?
Straight tracer.
I'm not... Usually I see ball and this one.
So there's a spotter tracer round. In fact, God dang it, I forgot to grab a spotter tracer to show you. But the spotter tracer round is used in the recoilless rifles. You know those big recoilless rifles.
Oh yeah, okay.
They have a
like
mortise tube insert that you use to sight in the recoilless rifles, and it shoots a special spotter tracer.
Okay.
And it's like a real bright tracer that's real heavy, and I think it's yellow and red. So if you see a striped yellow and red, almost looks like a yellow jacket, that's a spotter tracer. And it's a real heavy bullet. It's designed as a heavy bullet to replicate the trajectory of the recoilless rifle round.
Like that lob, like that Nerf football.
So you can sight the gun in. It's, you know, so you're not wasting full ammo just to sight the gun in. You put the mortise tube in and run the 50 in it.
Who wants to just lob, you know, recoilless rifle rounds and javelin missiles and AT-4 rounds? Who wants to just throw those?
Remember the trainers for the AT-4?
Yeah.
9mm.
9mm tracers.
9mm tracers.
Yep.
All right, and then show that projectile that's in the bag there.
All right,
everybody.
So
now you get a cheat code there because it says what it is on the bag. But
yeah.
Now I don't have loaded ammo, but I just want to show this projectile. Look at that freaking thing.
Yeah, man, that's nice. That's a nice looking round. It's like, is that
this turned brass?
Yep, I was gonna say.
Yeah, the controlled chaos. So that's Lehigh.
750 grain, controlled chaos, lead free.
Yeah.
3,000 feet per second.
It's a beast. That round is a beast.
Yeah, man. That looks nice.
It'll destroy anything you want. Well, you know, I was going through the studio and found some 50 cal rounds. I thought it'd be cool to have a little session where we try to stump you on some of the 50 cal ammo. But that's the king of them right there is the Ralphus.
Yeah, that'll blow some stuff up.
So the Ralphus, those are made by Bofors in Sweden for us. Those are made. Bofors is contracted to make those projectiles for us, and they have a tracer But they also have an explosive core, RDX in the core.
Yep.
So they kind of explode when they hit, And I remember we would ride around in a rack mat, and when I was gunning on the M2, it's so weird to think back that I'd have a whole belt of Ralphus, and it's just thinking like that round is so awesome. And when you shoot things with it, you can see a flash, and
I remember.
And so the other 50 cal round that I actually forgot to break out, I don't know if I had any loaded up, but the blue tip is incendiary only. It only is to burn things. It's incendiary. So the projectile itself, when it hits a hard object, it's sort of frangible. It just sort of breaks apart. But that powdered metal and the way that the mixture of the incendiary is made in the tip, it makes fires. It's for setting things on fire. So if you're trying to catch a structure on fire or something like that, you use incendiary. Or if you just want to, I don't know, the enemy's in a field and you want to catch the field on fire, you can just find a hard object, shoot a rock, and then it'll just catch the field on fire.
Yeah.
That sort of stuff. Like when you need to burn things.
It was like I remember being in Iraq, the buildings were so
kind of industrial.
Yeah, but they're like everything it was hard because everything punches through them. Like you would shoot through the front of the building, it would just go out the back because like it's mud. Like everything is like a straw mud mixture. So if you hit a building with a 50 cal, you literally just punch. You just see hole punches in it, and it's like okay. I mean, hitting it with a Ralphus, it would literally probably just punch through it. I remember
not even have enough resistance to
we
blow
stopped,
up.
We stopped shooting buildings with AT4s because it literally wouldn't even blow the building up. It would just, like, you'd see it punch through one wall, go out there, and you have a hole in the building. And you're like, oh, nice way to waste a couple $1,000.
Have you seen the new AT4s?
No, I've seen the water variation where it has like the water in the back, so you can actually fire them inside of buildings. So like, is that the one you're referring to?
Well, there's that, but then they also, I know this is going to sound like such a basic thing. You would think, oh, why is that not a thing? They have all the AT4s now are reloadable.
That's actually nice.
So, before what we were taught was you shoot it and you break the sights off and you throw the tube away.
Yep.
What a waste. What a waste.
Mm-hmm.
One use. What a waste. But this way you carry a launcher and you just have extra projectiles and you shoot some bitch again.
It's almost like a recoilless rifle, like a Carl Gustav.
Right. Well, I believe they are made by Carl Gustav.
Yeah.
I mean, they're made in Sweden.
Saab.
Maybe Bofors that makes their AT4s as well.
I think Saab makes the Carl Gustav.
They're Sweden, aren't they?
Yeah. Yep.
It's so random how a lot of our military tech that we get out of the Scandinavian countries, and they don't play around they know how to make anti-tank weapons.
Dude, have you seen the artillery pieces?
Yeah.
Oh my God. They have one that's like
I know.
It will shoot 5 artillery rounds at the same time, and they all land in one spot at the same time. It just changes the angle of fire.
Yeah.
I was like,
Isn't that wild?
That's nuts.
I remember when I first got in the military, you and I got in around the same time, but they were still training us on, very briefly, they still trained us on the 4 deuce and the rifled 4 deuce. And essentially what they were going for was a breech loaded mortar that was rifled. So the idea was that it would be more accurate. But I think they found that maybe it just in practice was not as good of an idea because a 4 deuce is nice. You can load it from the breech. So hey, if you're in an enclosed area, you can just load it from the breech and not have to expose yourself to get up and put a round in. I suppose there's that factor, but it's faster to just drop damn rounds down a smoothie than it is to have to open the breech. And I think you had to grease the breech and clean it and keep it clean as you go. And it's
well, the hard thing was calculating the charge because it was so with 120 millimeters, it's charge 1, 2, 3, 4, or 0.
And it's there.
Yeah, it's either
it's
0
already
to
there.
4. That's it. You just pull them
off.
off.
Yeah, it's already there. You just peel them off and go.
With a 4 deuce, you had to take a knife. You had to it was 4 3/4. You're like, oh man, it was ridiculous. No. I remember seeing those. I was like, there's no way.
No way. There's a reason that the 4 deuce went the way of the dodo. I mean, it wasn't a bad system, but that 120 millimeter mortar, man, that thing is no joke.
Yeah.
That thing will absolutely lay down the law. And you can run the inserts and run you can run a loom with the 81s, no problem. Just drop the mortise tube in there and just run the conversion tube. And I think at one point Then we extrapolate the unit replacement cost on running a loom in a 120 versus running the insert tube. It's like 67% or 70% cheaper to run the 81s than it is to run 120s.
But the 120s, they have a higher hang time. Like they stay in the air a lot longer. And I think they're a lot brighter, like double the brightness.
I think that, that one night that we ran an Illume mission that one night in the Lion's Den, and I think we kept continuous Illume for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Something like that. One night.
I think we had 2 guns running.
Oh, we had two guns running, but we had continuous Illume going for a hot little minute. Mm-hmm. And I think we were running inserts. We weren't running 120s. And I guess they're like, I don't need that kind of brightness, because I think if I remember correctly, these guys were ingrained in some crazy firefight, and they wanted just enough Illume to kind of give their night vision a little help.
Yeah.
They didn't need it to see. They just wanted to, it was a dark night, and I think they just wanted a little extra ambient light in the sky to help them.
Yeah, nobody wants to throw the IRs on. Then you're going to start catching fire with that.
Yeah. So it's just interesting to think about all that, Mm-hmm. But anyway, there's our 50 cal rounds, and I wanted to show those off.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's been a while. I mean, definitely familiar with the A-pits.
Yeah.
Not so much the Ralphus.
Yeah. I remember, I'm not going to say the exact website, because I don't think the gentleman is in business anymore. I think he's retired. He was down in Florida. But there was a guy that I was buying a lot of my projectiles for the 50 BMG. And not to go off on another story, because I don't want to take this much time to discuss it. But let's just say that when you order components, you don't have to pay hazmat. So if I order primed brass that already has a primer in it, and then I order projectiles, he can send that all to me, and I'll just put my own powder in there, and I don't have to pay any kind of hazmat charges like if I'm ordering primers or powder.
That's very good to know.
And they're already primed. So, and plus I was getting a lot of really rare and hard to get stuff from him. I bought a whole bunch of those 50 cal incendiary projectiles, and I bought a bunch of A-pits from him. In fact, that's an A-pit that I loaded, the one with the silver tip. That's one that I loaded. There. Now, the brown tip tracer is a cartridge that's a military one. Mm-hmm. And of course, the Ralphus is that's an OG military one. Don't ask how I got it. I'm not going to tell you. And then the AMAX is a factory match round. But anyway, I loaded the A-pit. But I bought a whole bunch of projectiles, like 2 50 cal ammo cans full of just the projectiles.
Nice.
And now I wish I would have bought 10 cans for what they cost. I can actually afford to shoot my Barrett and not go broke. I think I extrapolated at one point what it was costing me. And for me to load my own 50 rounds, to load my own A-pits with brand new brass already primed, and just me add the powder and throw the A-pit on top. I think at one point I figured it out, and I'm spending like $3.50 a shot.
Which I mean,
$4 a shot.
Yeah, which I mean, for an A-pit.
For an A-pit.
Oh my God, that's like.
And normal. I was paying the same thing for the freaking incendiaries, which I kill myself for not buying more of those incendiaries.
I was gonna say that's like ball pricing now. Like if you just.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Now, speaking of incendiaries, we'll get back to this Jeffrey Epstein thing, and we'll kind of close things out, because we're kind of getting a little far on time here on today's show. And look, I know we sort of went in a bunch of different directions today, and I appreciate you being patient. People. It's a podcast, y'all. We're gonna crap around here and there, and so Bondi's role in all of this. I know in a few of the previous episodes we've discussed Pam Bondi, and we've discussed Bongino's role, Cash's role, and all the other picks in Trump's cabinet. We have Dr. Gorka back on board, which I think very highly of Sebastian Gorka. I think he is a very fine guy. And I know Dr. Gorka, and he is a fantastic guy. And I know that if the president ever bends his ear for anything, I know he's going to get the absolute best advice he could ever ask for when it comes to our nation's security and internal threats and external threats and all the other things. I mean, Dr. Gorka is a very good guy. And, and I'm not ever going to sit there and say that the people that Trump has picked are not good people. I mean, I have no doubt that Pam Bondi is very, very qualified for her job. I'm not going to ever sit here and say that she's not a qualified person. She's very qualified for the job. She's fantastic at, being a prosecutor, being a legal mind that can determine if the crime's been committed, and how to go about it. I mean, that's what an attorney general essentially does. Like, they're the chief law enforcement officer of the entire nation. Like, the attorney
Correct.
general, if they tell you it's illegal, damn it, it's illegal, right? So has Bondi performed the highest of her potential throughout this tenure so far? I think she's given us some crumbs, right? We've gotten a few Second Amendment crumbs.
Mm-hmm.
We've got some literal Epstein crumbs. I feel like she's holding out on us a little bit. And I think that seems to be the view of many of Trump's constituency, is that not enough has been done fast enough. And people are really starting to question the true intentions of this cabinet.
Well, you say that, and I was just about to say the only cabinet pick that has been worth a crap has been Tulsi. Because, I mean, if you look at, Kash Patel, he was supposed to go in there and really clean house. Hasn't done anything. Dan Bongino left which is really crazy. He left a multi-million-dollar position, having a podcast, like being really well known. He was supposed to clean house. Nothing. Pam Bondi, the reason she's not doing anything is because she doesn't want to set, as the Attorney General, doesn't want to set a precedence against anything that comes out with these Epstein files, because she doesn't know how much pressure is going to be applied. So it could be very well that everybody caves and they release these, or they get leaked.
Or maybe they're going after all of them and they don't want anybody to know. Maybe there's this whole plausible deniability that surrounds the intricacies of a law enforcement investigation, the intricacies of an intelligence gathering operation, the intricacies of something so vile and, pardon me, but effed up, that maybe it takes a whole team of people to sit back and go, how the hell do we even, how do we, I mean, this is torches and pitchfork territory.
Yeah.
How do we turn it from torches and pitchfork territory to everyone having their heads intact in the end? Hey, maybe they're just like, hey, jail would be probably an opportunity at this point. Like, some of these people are on many a shit list.
Yeah, but there's so many heads that are going to roll. They're trying to figure out who's going to be the sacrificial lambs and who's not. Right. In my opinion, that might be that. Yeah, that might be one of the things. They're like, hey,
maybe Diddy was that. Maybe they gave him Diddy.
Well, he got out of jail. He same thing. He got off scot-free basically, which is crazy in itself. But I just wanted to back up again about, the cabinet pick, Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah.
She's out there, say what you will, think what you will. She's putting in work. She is, going after the Russian collusion thing. Lots of stuff is being uncovered. Lots of evidence is being uncovered with like Comey and Obama and Hillary. All this collusion there, but she's actually bringing up facts. So that I have to respect. I have to respect that she's been working in the background with all this stuff going on, and this is what she's uncovered. And I think you're going to see heads roll on that as well, because based on what I've seen and what I've heard, there was some clear and obvious misrepresentation with how that went down.
And you notice too, Matt, that they are freaking shining a light on Obama again.
Yeah.
Remember how early on it was all, Hillary for prison. Everyone's making a joke about holding Hillary Clinton accountable for the email stuff and all that debacle and the Russian hoax. Yeah. And they still haven't done. Now what are they doing? They're pointing the finger at Barack Obama. He was implicated in this. He's committed treason. He's done this. He's done that. Blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter what the hell they say, because at the end of the day, if they don't, for one, he likely has varying degrees of presidential immunity.
Yeah. Understatement.
2, the current administration can just pardon him.
Yep.
What sort of precedent would it set for them to allow a former president to get axed over a crime that was committed? They would much rather pardon him and go, hey, look, we know you did wrong. We're going to pardon you because we don't want them coming after us for something or future administration. So, would you expect Trump to come out and say, well, I know Barack, he's not a bad guy, and this is all misunderstanding, so I'm just going to pardon him because, my end-all, do-all wisdom completely outweighs any evidence that you might actually see before you.
And he also wants to make sure that he's going to get the same treatment if it ever, like, that's,
and there
that's
may
like
not even
quo,
be
man.
anything that he's implicated for.
But
it may just be what is in the public eye. It might be, there's a picture of Trump with Jeffrey Epstein. Oh my God. You realize how freaking famous Trump is?
Mm-hmm.
How many famous people have pictures with him? I mean, I'm not quite convinced that just because there's a picture of him and Jeffrey Epstein together, that means anything.
Yeah, it's not like
everybody wants a picture made with Donald Trump.
It's not like he has a 14 or 16-year-old girl giving him a massage in an airport like Mr. Bill Clinton there.
I mean, there's just so much to it all. And how does the average person, Matt, make any form of sense over the whole thing? If you're told what you're told, you believe what you really want to believe, and to some, maybe what they really, really, truly believe in their heart might actually be pretty close to the freaking truth, and that is, I think, what is so scary to people is that they are worried that this could all be true, that maybe it's not some conspiracy theory, that if you are told the same narrative over and over again by people that have, let's just say, little bits and pieces of factoids and little bits and pieces of truth, it's like, I think that people are set up for such a sore degree of disappointment if it's not true, that's what this debacle really is all about. It's not even whether or not it's true or not, or who is or isn't implicated. I think that what they're trying to do is they're trying to prepare for the downfall of what people are going to actually physically do when they find the answer out, no matter what the answer is. They're more afraid of the answer just being out there, right or wrong. I think that they're more concerned about what people are actually going to do with that knowledge.
True.
And I think that they think that people are not prepared to know the truth.
I'm with that said, I'm very surprised that we haven't already started to see like the next crop of presidential candidates start, creeping up, because, normally you wouldn't, because traditionally presidents always run 2 terms, but
right.
This is Trump's second term. It just happened adjacent to losing at the second time. So,
and there's been some talk that because he was impeached, right, in one of his terms, that I think now don't quote. Well, ask AI, ask Grok 4.0 if Eric is right. I heard that there's some sort of precedent that if you are accused of some crime and impeached during your administration, that you can run for a 3rd term.
No way.
Now and you're found to be exonerated, that you can run for a 3rd term. Now I don't know how true that is. And here's the thing. Trump is not, even if he could run again, there's no way he would, because he's old, I'm not going to say he's old. I don't like to. We're getting old, Matt. We're getting old. I mean, look, the truth is, I'll say it in a more respectful way. I'll just say that, Trump doesn't want to do this for the rest of his life. He's got a life too. And you know what I mean? I think that he wants to leave his mark on society. He wants to leave his mark on this country. And I do truly believe he wants to do the right thing. I want to believe that. I'm not a diehard Trump supporter, but, I think that he is a person of vast integrity that maybe is misunderstood in a lot of situations. And I do think that he is overall a very honorable person. I really do. I think he does want to do what's best for the country. He just has a way of doing he just has his ways.
Right.
And some people may not always agree with those methods and his delivery and the methods and, the wordplay. But the truth is the world's a giant chessboard. And I know people say the 3D chess, but the truth is Trump is a master manipulator. And guess what? Sometimes you gotta convince the cards to fall in your favor, and I think that there are a lot of things in play that are greater than the Epstein debacle, greater than the gun control debacle, greater than social media and all these things that you're sort of, gaslighted to pay attention to. I think he's looking at such a broader picture, that you're forced to look at. A president has to look at things in such this broad worldview that maybe I would say normies and simpletons maybe don't have the mental capability to truly see the chessboard for what it really is and what's really at stake and what's really at play. And I'm willing to concede the fact that, obviously the guy knows a lot more about what's going on than I do. He's the freaking president, okay? I mean, and he's not just a president. He's a very successful businessman. He's done very well for himself. And, do I want my country to do well? Damn right I do. If it means that we got to run the place like a business, why not bring in someone who's savvy with that? I mean, that was always my view from day one. When Trump ran, I didn't even really like Trump that much. I thought he was kind of a, arrogant person, a little arrogant. However, I had grew up watching Trump on TV and, his cult of personality that he, surrounded himself with. He created his own cult of personality around him. And I think that that's the most genius part of his entire story is not his business acumen, not the fact that he was president, not the fact that he did what he did or didn't do what he didn't do, that he fully monetized what Americans admire the most. And that's personality. Like he created an entire brand around his personality and people have bought it. And I admire that. Okay. I
admire definitely something to be admired. It's something to be admired about. If you have such a such a gravitas and a magnetic personality that you can go from being a businessman to the president of the United States in the span of a lifetime. Yeah. All right. You got respect.
One last thing I'll say before we go. All right. I know we're kind of on time here, but in regards to this Epstein debacle, my view is that if someone is implicated and on that list and the evidence is overwhelming as to their involvement in these horrible things that we've been hearing about, I expect justice no matter who they are. I might like who I like. Yeah. I mean, are there, famous people on that list that I would hate to see hemmed up? Yeah, I would. I mean, but the truth is I care about justice more than I care about my view or opinion of who they are or what they've accomplished. I mean, and as much as I hate to say this, that includes Trump. No one should be free to behave in that way. And if it is true, what all these accusations are true, I think where a lot of people are at is that they expect justice. And they don't want that justice to be applied only to one group of people or that group of people. Where people are at is they want justice holistically, equally applied, and everyone have their day in court, and we'll see where the cards fall. Release the information, release the data, release the videos, release everything, and let the cards fall where they may. That's what people want. And what pisses me off right now is that the Trump administration and many other lemmings within the administration are playing cover and trying to pretend like it's not what people want. Right. That's not true at all. People want justice. They've heard about it. They've been fed all the spoonful of crap for years. And I think people want to see justice administered.
Yeah, we want justice. We want it now.
Yeah. But can we trust a machine to deliver justice when the grease of those wheels are the very people that are the accused?
Yeah.
Do you really trust that system to police itself? And I think that is the kind of clear and present danger of people's view on this whole subject, Matt. It's not about whether Jeffrey Epstein is alive or dead. It's not about whether all the people and the clients and all the, none of that. The actual facts don't even really matter. What this is really about is people have lost faith in the institutions and their willingness to police themselves. And at what point, when an institution has to police itself, does that institution even deserve to exist anymore? That's what they're scared of. They're afraid that people are going to come to the conclusion, like, well, God dang, every time we turn around, there's some person who's running our government that's in the news for some accusation.
It's true.
At what point do you have to go, wait a minute, I definitely am not going to allow myself to be policed by criminals. And the criminals are not going to police themselves. So where is the justice? Where does that justice lie? Where does it exist? Does it exist? And I think once people come to the conclusion, right, that there is no justice anywhere for anyone, and that these people are never going to hem themselves up over anything, I think that is what they're worried about ultimately the most, is what people are actually going to do.
Well, that's what we're
when
seeing
they come
right
to that
now.
Conclusion.
Yeah, we're about to find out.
I think so. We'll talk about the cruise a little bit on the next show.
Yeah,
we really didn't talk about that in today's show. But look, I really appreciate you guys listening. If you're following us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, all the places where you can find your favorite podcasts, I appreciate you listening. You can also follow Matt and I on Iraq Veteran 8888 over on YouTube. We post this in video form if you want to see our ugly mugs. and the mugs that we talked about in the video, the Based and Mad mugs. So show your support for little old me and pick yourself up a hat, or a mug, or a t-shirt and wear it proudly, because we are based and mad. We are pissed, and we're not taking no for an answer. And you know what? We're gonna have some fun while we do it. You know, we're gonna upset the in-laws. You know, by all means, y'all upset the in-laws. It'll be well worth it, I promise. But thanks so much for tuning in. And Matt, you got anything else for us before we head out?
No, it's a very, very interesting conversation. We could have went 100 different ways, but it went the way that it went.
Let the cards lie where they're gonna lie.
Yep.
All right, y'all. Have a good week. We'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening to Life, Liberty, and Pursuit. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else podcasts are found. Be sure to leave us a 5-star review. We'd really appreciate that. You can support us over on Ballistic Ink by picking yourself up some merch. And remember, guys, danger is freedom. Have a good one.